Not that I'm a Christian, but I do draw truth from any source that I can, especially Taoism and a few other Oriental philosophies. But I was raised a Christian, and ergo have this religion as a major foundation to my ideology. One of these Christian principles that I chose to pick was Matthew 7:13 and 14, which says, "Enter ye through the narrow gate, for wide is the gate, and broad is the road that leadeth unto destruction, and many go through it. But small is the gate, and narrow the road that leads to life, and only a few find it." This to me means two things. One, that the majority of people are wrong, and that there is merit in standing alone, or at least in standing with the minority. And two, that if you're looking for help in moral decision-making, from this anyways, it would say the harder of your choices is more likely to be beneficial for you. This is one of many of my unorthodox Christian interpretations of Scripture. I no longer consider myself a Christian, as I've never seen or been presented with any proof or even indication of a personable God. Most theologies of the Occidental religious lack in logic what they emphasize in the faith of the absurd, or in the absurd. As a logic and reason-driven person, it is too hard for me to sympathize with that mind frame. Since my break with Christendom, I have come to trust more in my free-thinking mode of analyzation. I notice more of a relation to my intuition when seeking with an approach that is as unorthodox as possible. I take this new path in the dense wood until I am sure as to not be on a highway, freeway, driveway, or any other kind of streetway. Then I realign myself towards the direction of my choice, of my choosing. And this gives me freedom. Freedom to choose for myself and not be influenced by the herd. Freedom to zig when others zag. And the best part of this free walking method is I can always move closer to the populace if I should find myself in error or a tough spot or situation. Because the two boundaries have been set, being the moderation of the other's idea and the extreme of my own. So surely there must exist a place between these spots that serves both efficiency and freedom, both reason and creativity, and by the sheer nature would cater more to individual liberties than the broad road. I can remember a few class periods from high school that involved my arguing with most of the members of said class over the idea that we as a people should return to the ways of the Native American Indians. My argument. And it hinged on the premise that the white man or industrialized persons or nation were like a cancer that would not stop expanding and therefore could never reach an equilibrium with their surroundings. This is anti-pragmatic to its core on a short timeline, but from my far-sighted perspective, this is necessary to recreate man as an animal that would have a chance of sustaining livability within the confines of our home on Earth here. My argument was obviously not met with any acceptance and has kept this course its entire evolution until I found anarchy as a practical form of non-governance. In a way, anarchy vindicated this idea for me. The only way to have an anarchic anything is if the existing system were dismantled. And this is the best case scenario. In all probability, it would take a revolution, a bloody revolution, in which the ending of society as we know it would have to take place in order to be able to implement an enduring anarchy. You have to break the mold to recreate something. And even then there would be, there would need to be some sort of constitution to inhibit the functions of any company or court system or DRO or any other power-holding entity. And this is one reason that I keep the United States Constitution and the Bill of Rights close to my heart, and as an integral part of my foundation, because that was the aim of these government documents. Whether or not there was adherence to these principles doesn't matter, because you're always going to have a backsliding of the system. But if we can keep going back to the original documents, I think we'd be a lot further along. The formation of America, an idea anyways, was to me the closest to a functioning anarchic situation that has come into fruition. But just as in gaining anything of worth, there must be trial and error, success and failure. Just because America seems to be, or definitely is, failing, that doesn't mean that another effort can't be made to save the idea that founded us. But the Catch-22 is part of the answer to why America's failing. Complacency. Simple. I argue the points of anarchy with others fairly regularly, and a lot of the time the discourse comes down to the same core issue. Them, with their socialism as supported by the state, versus my idea, which is socialism as run by the people. These opposing opinions usually state that they want the government to take care of them, to give them what they need, and to choose for them. Whereas I want to choose for myself. I want to choose what I get in every facet of life. Even if this means more effort on my part to do the research to find out what exactly is best for me. And the reason I want this choice is because whenever others decide for you, then you rarely get what you want. So why not choose for yourself? It's like so-and-so said, the penalties for refusing to participate in politics is that you end up being governed by your inferiors.